Hey, what's going on, guys? Werenka here from M1 Realty. I founded the company in 2014. I'm the broker owner. I've been in the real estate business for 18 years, and I wanted to make this video because I've gotten a lot of questions as we're moving into selling season right now and home purchase season. Got a lot of questions from specifically first-time buyers, but this will apply to anybody that's looking to buy a house, especially if it hasn't been a while since you purchased, or even if you have. It's always good to just kind of refresh your memory on what to expect when you're looking to purchase a property. So with no further ado, that's what I'm going to speak about. Let's get into it. So when you are ready to make the move, start thinking about purchasing a property, the number one first thing you should do, the most important step in the whole process, is to get pre-approved. Unless you're one of those people that's lucky enough to just have cash on hand to buy a house cash, you're going to be getting a mortgage. That is the absolute first step before you contact a realtor, before you do anything else. That's really the most important thing. So that you know what kind of program you're going to be approved for. You know what your buying power is. That kind of tells us everything else. It tells us what areas we need to look in, what type of properties we need to be looking at. If you're approved for an FHA mortgage or a VA, we're not necessarily going to be looking at fixer-uppers because those, if you're approved for those mortgages, the property that you purchase has to be move-in ready. So something that's got peeling paint, missing handrails, and worse, is not going to be eligible for that type of mortgage. So that being said, first thing you should do is get with a reputable loan officer. I'm lucky enough that I vetted out I turn away, I can't even tell you how many loan officers I turn away every week, every month. The people that we have partnered ourselves up with are absolutely the best of the best. So I have absolutely zero hesitation referring you out to literally the best loan officers in the business. So the second step in the process is to know your budget and live within your means. Being house poor sucks. I don't ever want to put my clients in a position where they are scrambling to make that monthly payment. All their extra dollars go towards making their mortgage payment, so they don't have any quality of life, any chance to go out and do the things that they love to do. So what I recommend doing is, obviously your pre-approval is going to give you a dollar amount that you can spend on a house. That being said, I think the proper way to look at this is in terms of what monthly payment are you comfortable with. So that will dictate the price of property that we end up looking at. So I'd look at it that way, and there's 4 factors that go into what your monthly payment is going to be, and that's principal, interest, tax, and insurance. Now, the principal and interest is pretty much going to be dictated on the interest rate that you qualify for, which after you've met with your loan officer, you're going to have a really good idea of what your interest rate is going to be. Now, that won't get locked in until we actually have a property under contract, but realistically, I don't anticipate the interest rates jumping up and down too crazy over the next several months. So, whatever you qualify for through your initial consultation is probably not going to be that much different than what you lock in at when we're ready to purchase a property. So principal and interest is, that's going to be the big chunk of your monthly payment. The second part is taxes, and that varies from city to city. So that's why we need to get clear on, what you want your monthly payment to be, so that when we start, if we're looking at 2 different cities, one of them has a substantially higher tax rate, we might avoid that unless we can get the right price, so on and so forth. And then insurance is the 4th factor in your monthly payment. And that also kind of depends on the location that you purchase in, and several different factors, price of the house as well. Generally, that is not going to fluctuate as much. So really, principal, interest, and taxes are the big 3 that we really look at when determining your payment. Step number 3 is getting familiar with all the paperwork that goes into writing an offer on a property. So in Michigan, where I operate, there's several documents that go into submitting an offer. The first being the agency disclosure, which just lets the listing agent know how you're being represented by your agent. Typically, we represent you as a buyer's agent, meaning that our fiduciary duty is 100% towards you as a client. Any confidential information you were to give us, we couldn't disclose, and we're working only for you to get you the best price and terms on a property. The other documents that are involved are the lead-based paint disclosure, depending on the age of the house that you're writing an offer on. If it's built 1979 or after, they won't have a lead-based paint disclosure because they'll be lead-free. Seller's disclosure is an important one because the seller is basically telling you, if there are any defects with the house, they have to disclose it on that form. If they fail to disclose that, they're actually legally liable for any things that if they try to hide any defects. The purchase agreement, our purchase agreement is 6 pages long, and I believe it has 42 paragraphs. And each one of them are important. There's a reason why they're in that document. So, that it's important that you understand what you're signing before you sign it. And then finally, the pre-approval goes along with the purchase agreement. And then there's also an FHA or VA addendum if you are using that type of mortgage as well. So the reason that I say you need to know what the paperwork is before you go to purchase property is, in this day and age, we do everything electronically. All our signatures are electronic. So when you're ready to write an offer on a property, you're basically just going to go tap, tap, tap on your phone, and we're going to be able to submit that offer. So I like my clients to know what they're signing before they sign it. That way we can identify any issues that might arise and answer any questions at that time, because I want you to be able to ask a lot of questions during that process, because that's really your main time to do so. Because once you're ready to start writing offers on a property, it's go time. Like, we have to be quick, we have to be accurate, we have to get our best offer in ASAP. So what I like to do, I actually have a buyer consultation that we do with our buyer clients. We'll meet you at the office or at your property, at your home, or Starbucks, wherever you're comfortable with, and we'll actually go over all the documents that go into submitting an offer. We go over the purchase agreement point by point, answer any questions that you have, make sure that you're 100% comfortable with what you're signing before you sign it. Number 4, I recommend relying on your agent for property alerts, any custom home searches that we send, anything that we send online or via email to you. Reason being, there's some other sites out there, I'm not going to name any names, but the big ones that we all know that people use to search for homes a lot contain a ton of inaccurate information. So when I set somebody up with a custom home search, whether it's through our internal system or through the MLS, they're both linked directly with the MLS, which is the multi-list. That's where we gather all our information on properties that's on the market. We know that anything that we're sending you is going to be 100% accurate and up to date. Literally, when I set up a client of mine with a custom home search, so say you want homes in a certain city from 150,000 up to 225,000 with 3 bedrooms and a basement and a garage. So I'll save those parameters in the system, and then anytime a home hits the market in that city that meets the criteria, we both get an email. So you're in real time being up to date. You're going to know exactly what's on the market as soon as it hits the market. So I think that's the best way to ensure that you're getting accurate information. Just rely on your agent. We know what we're doing, and we're making sure that's our job, is to provide you with accurate, up to date information that's going to help you in your home search. Step 5. So an important thing to know in the home buying process is once you submit an offer on a home, you get it accepted, and you're under contract, the buyer is going to be responsible for depositing an earnest money deposit, and that's essentially your collateral to the process. If you without any good reason, if you just decide to back out of the deal, the seller more than likely is going to be awarded the deposit. So that being said, one thing that a lot of my clients have been surprised with over the years are the fact that we actually do have to deposit that money into our escrow account at the bank. So you're going to hand over a check, but it will be deposited, and some people are surprised when that actually happens. So in order to eliminate any surprises, that's going to happen, whether you work with us or submit your deposit to a title company, or whoever you end up working with, whoever you end up turning your deposit over to, that's going to go into a bank account. At least in the state of Michigan, Earnest money deposit law is very strictly controlled. It's, the law is very cut and dried. The money has to go into a non-interest bearing escrow account. It just sits there until closing. It's your money the entire time, but we're the trustee of the money. And at the time of closing, it basically goes towards your down payment or your closing costs. If you decide to back out of the property and you have reason to do so, we'll get a mutual release signed, and that money gets dispersed according to the mutual release. Other than that, it has to sit there unless the deal closes, we have a mutual release, or we have a court order. But rest assured that money will be deposited into an account, totally safeguarded. Again, it's still your money. Just the way that transactions work in the state of Michigan, that is, that's your collateral that's holding you to the deal. So just know that moving forward. Step 6, and this is an extremely important one, especially at the time of this video is January 2022. We're still in a really competitive seller's market. Buyers are jumping through all kinds of hoops in order to get deals accepted. Some buyers are, and I do not, I just want to emphasize, this is why I'm making this part of this video. Some people are waiving their home inspection or waiving their right to a private home inspection. I absolutely do not recommend doing that at all. We can shorten the inspection period down. I work with some really good inspectors that I trust 100%, who I've given a lot of business to over the years, and if I need to expedite an inspection, I can usually get that done, no problem. Typically, I'll ask for like a 1 week period to do all your inspection, do all of your due diligence on the home. If we need to shorten that down to 3 days, that's usually plenty. Don't ever recommend waiving the inspection. You just don't know. You don't know what you don't know, and this is going to be the biggest purchase of your life. So I don't recommend going into it blind. The inspector's job is to nitpick every little inch of that house and come up with a whole laundry list of things that are not perfectly right. What we're looking for is the stuff that's major, that's in excess of normal wear and tear. But again, you don't know what you're getting into without without a home inspector. I'm not a home inspector or a contractor. I'm assuming you're not either. That's their whole job, is to set you up so that you know exactly what you're getting into when you purchase that property. So for that reason, definitely recommend not waiving the inspection. That's a really, really important step in the process. Step number 7 is paperwork. So this doesn't as much apply to the real estate side of it as it does to the lending side. But once we have the deal under contract, I will be submitting, the purchase agreement, all the pertinent paperwork. I'll get it to the title company. I'll get it over to the lender, so both of those people, parts of the process can get their end of it started. Now, I get this quite a bit from buyers who are a little bit taken aback and not quite ready for this, so this is why I'm including this in this video. Once the lender is asking you for paperwork, you need to do whatever it takes to gather it and get it back to them as quickly as you possibly can. This isn't something that you can I'll get to it tomorrow. Like if they need bank statements or a rental statement from your landlord, mortgage statements, whatever the case may be, you need to just get that to them. You just upload it and send it to them. Most of the lenders that we work with just have a portal now where you just upload documents. But they're asking for it for a reason. They're asking for it generally because their underwriter needs to see it in order to sign off on your mortgage. And every minute that you delay is a minute that we're getting up against our closing date, which is, sometimes we can get an extension on the closing date, sometimes we can't. So, we're doing everything that we can. Our lenders are doing everything they can to meet the agreed upon contract close date. But a lot of the stuff relies on you to help them do their job. So I would say just know that going into it. Don't get frustrated if, sometimes there's, processors and depending on the lender you use, they could be in different states and they don't always communicate. So if two different people ask you for the same document, don't get frustrated. Just grit your teeth, do it, and trust me, you're going to be happier that you did, because there's nothing more stressful than getting up to a closing date and not having that clear to close yet, scrambling at the last minute to try and get everything in order. It's just way, way, way better for everybody involved, just to get them what they need and get it as quickly as possible, and just be ready as part of the process. It is what it is. Step number 8. So you're purchasing a property, right? Whether this is your first home or your 10th, this is just a stepping stone to get where you want to be ultimately for your forever home. So especially if this is your first time buying a property, you may not get everything you're looking for the first time. The first time out of the gate. A starter house is called a starter house for a reason, and the main goal is to get you into a position where you can live comfortably with a payment that you're comfortable with, build up equity, and when you turn around and sell or rent that property, it gets you to the next level. So this goes back to not wanting to be house poor either. So don't bite off more than you can chew. We'll go over. I've got what I call a dream home finder form, and this is like in a perfect world. What is your house? What is everything you would want in your perfect dream home, right? So we might not get that on the first house, but our goal is to, in 3 to 5 years, when you're ready to sell or keep that property as a rental, because that's honestly, if you're interested in investing in real estate, the best rental property you could possibly have is the house that you're living in right now. So I did that for the first place I ever bought. I rented it out for 18 years after I moved out of it, and paid for itself many times over. So that's definitely something to consider. Generally what people will do is build up some equity in that first house and then use that as a down payment on the second house, so that ideally your payment isn't that much different, even though you're in a bigger upgraded home. So, that's whatever your goals are, is my job to meet them for you. But at the end of the day, just kind of get into it, with the expectation that, your first house that you ever buy probably isn't going to be the last house you're ever going to live in. So, figure out what's the most important thing to you. And if we can get you everything that you want, then perfect. I'm loving it. If we can't, figure out what the most important things are, so that we can get you into a home that you're happy with, that is going to work for you for as long as you're there. And when you're ready to leave that home and move on to the next one, we've got a nice cushion of equity for you to use as your down payment. And then finally, step number 9, just enjoy the process. This is an exciting time. You're buying your first home, or you're buying a new home, as the case may be. This is we get to shop around. We get to look at all kinds of different homes. We get to maybe look at some areas or some types of property that maybe you didn't even know you liked. This is a great time to just kind of get out and explore. I like to start searches off really broadly and then just kind of narrow down as we focus in more. You get a better idea of what you're really looking for. We can narrow down at that point and then just really find that perfect house for you. But this is this is your chance to live the American dream, build equity. You get to fire your landlord. You get to start. Your monthly payment gets to go towards you, as opposed to paying somebody else's mortgage down or making somebody else wealthy. This is your opportunity to build wealth, use real estate as a vehicle to do that. And, it is an exciting time. So just try and have fun with it. It can be a little bit stressful, but at the end of the day, generally, I don't know that I've ever worked with a buyer, sold them a house, and they've regretted being a homeowner. And we're talking 18 years, hundreds and hundreds of clients. At least to my knowledge, I've never been in a position where somebody said, damn, I wish I was still renting. So, if there's any other questions I can answer for you, just leave a comment down below, or you can always reach out to me at 586-491-5622. You can call or text me anytime, or shoot me an email at Werenka@m1realty.net. I'll do anything I possibly can to get you the answers that you're looking for, or help you out any way that I possibly can. Until next time, guys, thank you so much, and happy house hunting.